This is my sanctuary. This is where I worship. This is where I heal. This is where I grow. And this is where I'm at peace with all of it. Me and this forest have been taking care of each other for 35 years. I have spent many hours traversing this land, removing invasive plant species, cutting back floribunda and wild grapevines. Although wild grapevines and floribunda are good for wildlife habitat, they can have a negative impact on the growth of a tree and timber quality. Some of the vines I can pull off the trees with my hands, but others I need tools like clippers or a saw. The vines I have overlooked for many years take the most energy and tools to sever. The longer you allow these vines to grow, the more restricting they become to the growth of the tree. I'm sure I have noticed that vine before. How could I have missed it? Maybe I just didn't have the right tool at the time to cut it. Or I noticed it from the top of the ridge, but because it's located near the bottom of a steep and rocky hill, I just hoped it would fall away naturally. I decided this year that if the vine was still there, I would have the correct tool to sever it before any more damage was done. I covet growth. Growth is healing, and healing is energy for the mind, for the body, and for the soul. Would you like to tell us your story about your experience?
So I was with a man for 17 and a half years. The first 2 years that we got together, he was amazing. He worked. He took care of me and my kids. He did everything that, a good husband and a good dad is supposed to do. And about 2 years in, he decided that he didn't have to work no more, that it was my job to work, to take care of the kids, to take care of the house, to take care of him. He was very narcissistic. Whenever I would complain, he turned it around on me, and he would say things like, if you didn't make me feel so bad about myself, I could keep a job. If you didn't, do this or that, I wouldn't drink. And about 4 years in, he started being physically abusive as well as mentally abusive, and that too was my fault. The thing with narcissists is that it's never ever their fault. They will manipulate you. They will make you think that it's your fault, that there's something wrong with you, that if you wasn't who you were, that they would not beat you. They would do what they were supposed to do. They would take care of their kids. He would also let me know that his mother would take our kids away from me if I had ever left him. After a couple of years of hearing that, I went to his mom and asked her, are you going to take my kids away? And of course she said no. So when that started failing, then it was, I will kill myself if you leave, and the kids will know it was your fault. It's just massive manipulation and turning around on you. And it took me 17 years and an accident of almost dying to wake me up and realize that it wasn't me, it was him. And so I left him. That was 6 years ago. When I left him, he pretty much left our kids. He didn't just, if I was done with him, he was done with the whole scene. And really, the reason I volunteered to do this is because if I can help a female, it's not your fault. It's not your fault that your husband goes out and drinks. It's not your fault that he chooses to hit on you or that he can't function in life. There's too many women out there that blame themselves because men fall short. And I'm not a man hater. I have a husband that is wonderful. He is the exact opposite of my ex-husband, but I have been through it. That kind of relationship can affect your brain, almost on a permanent basis. I have trouble remembering things. I have trouble speaking sometimes. I still have trauma from being with him, I'm working on my own self-image, learning to love me again, because he literally made me hate myself. And I mean, it's just not worth it. It's really not worth it, no matter what they say, no matter what they do. It's not worth it. If you are around someone like that, you need to get them out of your life completely, because we're all worth it.
Yeah. When did you first realize what was happening? Who brought it to your attention that he was gaslighting you?
My parents never liked my ex-husband. They told me from the beginning that I thought they were wrong. They were right. But I thought they were wrong. You know, I didn't want to see it. But really, the first time that I opened my eyes was after my mother died, because she died disappointed in me. Not me,
I doubt it.
but my relationship. She wanted... Sorry, that does make me cry.
Oh,
She wanted better for me, and I couldn't do that.
Yeah, but you did.
I didn't think I deserved it, but I did.
You did.
I did.
Yes.
And I hope wherever she is, she knows it.
Oh, I'm sure that she knew before, she left this planet, that her daughter was going to be okay. She knew you. She knew who you were. You just had to see for yourself. And you had children. You had young kids.
And
so
it's so hard when you have kids, because you're like, well, even though I was doing everything, it was still like, well, they need their dad. And no, if their dad's there and he's not doing nothing, he's not a dad. He's just another child for you to take care of.
Now, with having therapy, how did that help you understand what he was doing?
My therapist had to be very brutally honest with me. My therapist pretty much told me, you need to get out of this relationship. This is what's happening. He's gaslighting you. He's manipulating you. He is a narcissist, and you are choosing not to see it. And you need to open your eyes, because you are going to be happier, even though you don't think so at the moment. You're going to be happier away from that than you are with it. And it wasn't until after I left him, within the year, I was like, why did I not do this sooner? I couldn't understand why I had chosen to stay with him so long. And again, that comes back to the manipulation. They take away your confidence. They take away your self-worth. They take away you. A narcissist will completely take you away from you. And you have to fight to not let that happen. It is one of the hardest fights I've ever done in my life. Me and my daughter was literally just talking about this last night. It took me, I'm still learning to be me again after that long of being with him, because I completely lost who I was. Everything was for him.
Yeah, and they're a powerful being.
Yes.
That they can overpower you. Not it is the intimidation, but not only physical intimidation, but it is also a mental intimidation.
Yes.
And once you are aware of what they're doing, then you start to see it, and you're the only one doing the work.
Yes.
You're the one who's trying to, because you went to your therapist, and what did your therapist had you record conversations?
Yes.
Because you couldn't remember
I
things that were said, or they would make you feel like...
We would fight, and 10 minutes later, I couldn't tell you what we were fighting about.
Right.
Because he would have so many things going on that my brain would just shut down. And living with a narcissist, you are in what they call fight or flight mode. And that is when you live like that in a panic every day of your life, that's what starts to get in your brain, and it messes it up. you lose your short-term memory. I can remember things that happened when I was 2, but I can't tell you things that happened last week, and that's still an active thing that I'm working on. I try to say things sometimes and it comes out wrong. That's still things that I have to work on, that is all caused from me living with a narcissistic man.
So that's basically PTSD.
Yes,
That's what it is.
It is pretty much the same thing.
Yeah.
Women in domestic abuse, mental abuse, any type of abuse,
Yeah.
deal with these things every day of their lives.
Yeah.
And even if it looks like it's easy, it's not.
And
men
men
and women can both be narcissistic.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's, I think, the hard thing to deal with, is because they only do it in front of you.
Yes.
They can be as charming as all get out to other people. And then when, maybe in private or in passing, say something to you that just to gaslight you.
Yes,
to
exactly.
get a rise out of you.
We would be fighting and somebody would come over and he would act like it was fine, and I am not a person that can just turn things off. So then he would look at this person that come in and say, "See, ain't she crazy? Ain't she? Do you see what I deal with?"
Those key words of the key words of you're delusional, you're crazy,
Yes.
you need help. You need to see, you need psychological treatment. You need, they want to tell you everything you need. Yes. And even if you're getting the help, then they're going to say, well, that psychiatrist doesn't know what they're talking about, or that therapist doesn't know what they're talking about.
I have heard that.
And then recording the conversations, you can't, if it triggers you to listen to the recording, then print it out. And then you can take it to your therapist and show them, and then you can go through it with them.
Yes.
And I think that's why, because it is hard to listen to a conversation that what's going on, but it's almost like it's happening to you twice.
Yeah.
And that's so scary, isn't it?
Yes.
It makes you feel.
I have done that, and I'm like, well, I feel like this and this happened, and again, you get it turned around, it's like, no, well, this happened, but when you record it, you can go back, look at it from a new perspective, and if you're really remembering it, they can't turn it around on you. I did a lot of recording in the last 2 to 3 years of my marriage. I did a lot. And most of the time, I was able to go, no, this happened, and then he would say, well, no, it didn't, and I'd be like, well, listen. And then it got to the point where I will break your phone, because I'm right.
That's the thing too, is that you don't need to go see a therapist. I'll tell you how to think.
Yes.
I'll tell you what's going on.
Yes.
Basically that's what they're doing. And they want to control your brain. They want to control everything.
The other thing is, if you're watching this and you're in that type of relationship, I will go ahead and say this story as a warning too. When I finally got the courage to leave him, I would wake up for the first couple months and he would be in my apartment. Yeah, that really happened. I had a friend. I lived in an apartment, and my best friend lived next to me, luckily. And she would keep an eye out, because many times I would wake up and she would be like, Josh is here. And I would say, no, he's not. And he would be in my apartment, and I wouldn't even know it.
Wow.
So, yeah, because he...
And just standing there, or just in there?
He would be in the kitchen. One time he was cooking.
Oh,
One
really?
time he was in my bathroom, and I was like, what are you doing here? And he's like, this is our house. And I'm like, no, this is my house. You need to leave. So it went on like that. And then once my friend and her husband started watching out for me, he kind of laid off. And then when I got with my current husband was like, no. I mean, we changed the locks, and he was still getting in.
Wow.
Yeah, it scared me, because I
didn't
know
call the
what
police?
I didn't. Again, I was still
afraid.
Afraid, yes.
Yeah.
I still didn't want to look like the bad guy. I didn't want my kids to be like, well, you put my dad in jail, even though I would have been in the right.
Yeah.
Yes, but many times
That's
I would wake up.
Serious,
A couple
power.
times I would wake up and he would be sitting on my bed just watching me, and that's a terrifying feeling. 'Cause
That's
you're like,
creepy. Yeah.
I'm about
Especially
to die.
if he was physically abusive
yes,
to you.
yes, it's a very scary thing. So, if you word of warning, change your locks. Put deadbolts on. Have somebody to, be there and look out for you to help keep you safe, until they get it through their heads that it's not a thing anymore. Because narcissists not only blame you for everything, they have trouble letting go of something that they claim as theirs. And that's the way my ex-husband seen me. He didn't see me as his wife. He just seen me as his property. I was there to take care of him. I was there to, support him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's amazing that you were able to get away. I mean, when you told him that you were done, how did you do that by yourself?
I
Just
did.
you and him?
My kids were there, but he had been telling me that he was going to do better. And it just got to the point where I knew it wasn't going to happen. And I was like, you need to leave. When I first told him to leave, it took me 3 weeks to get him out of the apartment because he would get in my face and go, make me leave. The only way you're going to make me leave is to call the cops. And he would do that because he knew at that point I wasn't ready to put him in jail. I just wanted him gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you were strong enough to do that.
But I eventually got him out of my apartment, and then, like I said, for a couple months he was still coming in, but he wasn't staying the night there.
Yeah.
And then after, it took me about 6 months probably to completely get rid of him.
Yeah.
From the moment I said, I don't want to be married to you, kicking him out and getting him to realize that he was not allowed in my home anymore.
Yeah.
It takes them a while to, because they're sick. It's a mental disease.
Yeah.
It is. They say it's not, but it is.
Yeah. Yeah. It will. Yeah. Personality
Yes.
disorder. But yeah, I mean, who knows if they don't? They're never going to get help for it.
No.
Because they're never going to accept that they have it, and then they have their own narrative about things, and they can't go back and change that because then everybody knows that they've made this up, or they believe it. They truly believe what they're saying.
And we have mutual friends, and it's been 6.5 years since we broke up, and he, to this day, when you ask him why our marriage ended, it's all my fault. He was so good to me. He took care of me. But people who know us know better.
They know, yeah.
They're like, that's not how that happened. But in his head, that is how that happened.
But it's almost like you want to say whatever, okay? You can say whatever you want as long as I don't have to be in your life anymore.
Yes. And that's pretty...
That's your whole mental health.
Yes.
Is
I got
what's
lucky,
important.
and I left my husband when my children was teenagers. So when I left him, I was able to completely cut him out because my children are old enough to speak for themselves.
Yeah.
So, I was like, you can call the kids. They have their own phones. I would leave my apartment so he could come see them and spend time because, my relationship with him is not my kids' problem.
Right.
So I still let him see our kids. He didn't very much. That's what me and Kat was talking about last night. I would literally leave my apartment and I would say, you can come see the kids here, and he wouldn't show up. And then he would tell our mutual friends, well, she's keeping the kids from me.
Oh.
And no.
Using that.
I even leave my home so he can come see them in my home, and he still don't do it.
Bending over backwards.
But it was still my fault.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, if one of the parents, I think oftentimes one of the parents has that narcissistic personality disorder, they can pass that on to their children, because either the children see it, or the children have been taught how to do it.
Yes.
And because it's something that they get better and better at as they get older, because it works for them. Yeah. And if that behavior works for them, then they are not going to change it. And we've seen that in display in politics. I think a lot of politicians have that personality, and they can pretty much control people by different gaslighting tactics, and that even the movie Gaslit, with Martha Winchell, and that right there goes to show you how people, I don't want to say just men, but how they went to great lengths to try to keep her quiet, about the whole Watergate incident. So gaslighting has been around for hundreds of years, just from the term gaslight. And if you don't know what gaslighting is, then Google it, because there's old movies, and where it stems from is gaslights.
Yeah.
So manipulation of the mind is a real thing, and I think that there are people who are more prone to falling for it or being controlled by it, especially people who are young, and I don't know what the age difference was between you and your ex-husband.
I was actually older than him.
Oh, were you?
But the way my therapist told me was because of the way I grew up. If you grow up in a home that has any type of abuse in it, you are more prone to end up in a relationship that has abuse in it. It's just the way, it's just the way our brains work. Even our unconscious brains, you are attracted naturally to people like your parents. So if you grow up like that, then that's normal. Yeah. Even if you know that that's not normal, somewhere in your brain, that's normal.
Right.
So
I guess it's a comforting thing.
It is.
It's a weird,
it's
comforting
almost
thing.
a comforting thing.
Yeah.
And so after all of that, again, I've been, I'm 43 now. I've been going to therapy on and off since I was 12 years old.
Wow.
So I have come a long way with the help of my therapist.
Yes.
But I am now to the point to where I don't argue. That's what that has done to me. I run from confrontation. I cannot stand arguing. I cannot stand negativity. I've cut most of my family out. Yeah. Literally, because I can't handle the stress. It broke my whole being to a point of I just can't handle it.
Because they're baiting you.
Yes. Into
an argument. If you don't agree with them, and you did learn the tools from your therapist to work out how to deal with people who are trying to bait you.
Yes.
Because and then once you exhaust all those tools and you cannot deal with it anymore because you're the only one doing the work. It's a one-sided relationship, and you're the one that's trying to keep from getting hurt by them, or keep it, trying to keep the peace, and you just cannot. And it is, that fight or flight is real. I mean, especially if you're in a conversation with folks that you're trying to have a relationship with, and they are not getting it. They're not getting what you're trying to say, or they don't want to get it, or they've got their own agenda. Who knows? But when you put yourself in a vulnerable position, then and it goes a different way than what you expect. I'm one of those people who writes a script. It's like, this is how I want this to go, and I think that I can fix all this, and it's going to be great, and we're going to be, everything's going to work out. And then when it doesn't, and I get sideswiped or knocked off balance, then it's like, holy shit, I'm out. I got to get out of here.
Yes. Because
you don't know, where is this coming from?
Yes.
And it's real. You got to get out, and then you've got to just recalibrate.
Yeah. I write in a journal every day, even on good days, bad days, whatever. And then I go back. Again, therapy taught me to do this. I go back after that feeling has changed, and I read it from a new perspective. That always writing things down or recording, like she said earlier,
right?
And then just go back and review, and then you can look at it from a different perspective when you feel different ways.
Right.
That helps a lot.
Yeah.
and reach out. I think reaching out to, there's so many people, like so many, I know social workers that have great coping skills, and if you can't afford to go to therapists, if you can't afford BetterHelp, calling BetterHelp, I know that they have deals to where if you're low income, but I know that people are going to have problems getting mental health help, especially with losing so much of their health insurance. At this time, I think it's going to be a little bit rougher for people to find the help that they need. So you're going to have to rely on counselors that might have maybe a group therapy session that you can go to. But any way you can reach out to somebody and try to find someone that you can talk to that will help you and help you get to a safe place, or help you figure out a way to remove yourself from that situation. And if you have kids, I can't imagine. I commend you, honey, for doing what you've done. It's
the
just
funny
amazing.
thing about that is that when I left my husband, both of my younger children, was like, it's about time, Mom. And I was just shocked, because I guarantee the last 5 years we was together was because of them. And I'm like, I wish you would have said that a lot sooner to me, because I stayed with him for them, and they actually didn't want us together. So
they saw your pain.
They did.
And that's another thing that I wanted to bring up. What I was trying, I think, getting to a while ago, was that your kids aren't like that.
No.
Your kids are not.
My kids
they
100% supported me during our breakup.
But they don't have that narcissistic disorder. They don't have that kind of personality where they're insecure. They seem like they're very secure individuals, and from just what I've seen on your Facebook.
And they're very loving and caring people. My oldest daughter works at Walmart, but she's about to be a foster mother. She wants to foster children. That way, between homes, they have a good place to go. Yeah. Like literally, she's like, I want foster kids because foster system's bad, and she wants them to know that there's hope, that there's somebody out there that could love them. My youngest daughter is a CNA physical therapist. She works with elder people too. She actually was doing it before I was. And now she's doing physical therapy, but on a personal level, she goes around and talks to the patients. She actually cares about them.
Yeah.
I have amazing children. My son is, got a wonderful big heart. He's so good. He does what he can to help out, I have amazing children for what they went through.
Yeah. Well, that's wonderful.
Yes, it is. I'm very grateful.
Well, I commend you. You did a good job getting out of that, and I hope that you don't ever have to deal with anything like that again.
I like to think that.
You do have to
now.
take care of my mom. You do have to take care of her.
Well, she's not abusive, though.
No, she's not. She's not abusive. She's a good woman.
She is.
Her and Merlin. Merlin's the worst, isn't he?
Yes.
He's
He's manipulative. He'll make you think he wants to pet him, and then he'll bite you.
Yeah, that's what he does. That's his trick right there.
It is.
Yeah.
He's like, pet my belly. I'm so cute, and then
yeah. So
yeah.
Well, thank you for doing this.
You're
I think
welcome.
that we can, if we can get just show people that we're willing to speak out about issues, and you can't let people put you in the corner.
Yeah.
And we've got to keep our voice, and if we have a voice, then we have a vote, and in our lives, and where our lives will go. If you let people change your trajectory, then it doesn't have to be permanent. You can always get it back. You can always get back on track and get your life back, and just don't let people intimidate you and make you feel less, or make you think something that isn't true. And here's someone who has survived that, and is having her best life.
I am.
I know.
I am.
And you're only in your fourth decade.
It's my karma.
Yeah, I believe that too. Karma is good. Well, all right, honey. Thank you.
You're welcome.